Hi Cancer, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a mid-month check-in for you for July 2025. It's going to be a general reading. And so in particular, what I'm going to look for in this reading is a pattern that's showing up for you this month, at the end of the month. And patterns are really important on our healing journey, because it's the universe's way of trying to wake us up to what is coming up from our shadow, our unconscious, that needs healing. And as humans, we tend to ignore these patterns. I mean, we kind of see them and we tell ourselves, no, it's not a pattern. You know, even though, you know, you're finding yourself bumping into the same types of people, not getting along with them, people are triggering you. You're finding yourself in the same types of situations, maybe, you know, in our relationships, the same endings are happening. We're maybe calling in toxic people over and over and can't figure out why am I being rejected all the time. You know, we're finding ourselves in with groups, certain individuals, and you know, we see that there's patterns how people treat you. And so these are so important to look at, because this is coming up from your childhood. It's coming up from your adolescence, and it needs healing. And there's usually a lot of emotions around the patterns too that we have to kind of look at and deal with. I mean, that's how we work through everything, is through our emotions, and not something probably that you want to hear, but that's kind of the reality of healing. And so I'm going to start off with pulling cards from the Ehrenberg Tarot, and then I'm going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite to clarify. So let's begin now with asking for a card for you, Cancer, that's going to tell us the pattern that's showing up for you at the end of July. One card for that. My kitten, I have a 6-month-old kitten, and I'm trying to get these readings done at a certain time so that I'm not bothered by him, but he just entered the room. So who knows, he may show up one of these days. I'm not sure how he's going to act. All right, one card for you. There we go. Okay, we have the 9 of Swords in reverse. What aspect of your shadow is coming up here for healing that's driving this pattern right here? So this is something from your childhood, something from your adolescence that you put away. You have the 7 of Pentacles. And what advice does the tarot have for you to begin to heal this pattern? Oh, that one wanted to pop out for sure. 6 of Pentacles. Gives me a good idea of what you need to heal. All right, tell me more about the 9 of Swords. Couple cards here. One more. 4 of Cups in reverse. And then you get the Lover's card sideways. 7 of Pentacles. Couple cards. Tell me more about the 7 of Pentacles. Okay. If you see me looking up, it's because I'm watching my cat, who's now on my desk in the corner. 8 of Cups and the Justice card. Oh, he's found the window. So there's the screen's open in here, so maybe he'll get attracted by that. I think he's got a bug that he's seeing. All right, sorry about that. I'm just a little bit distracted, but I'll be into your reading. 6 of Pentacles. Couple cards. There's 2. Okay, you have the 3 of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Fascinating, you have 3 Pentacle cards here for your advice from the tarot. All right, so What pattern in your life is showing up right now for you, Cancer? Well, you start off with the Nine of Swords in reverse, and I think the reason why it's in reverse is because it's like it's time to deal with this now, because I think it's come, you know, it's like a situation that's come to a real head here. So what is the Nine of Swords? Well, it's an individual, as you can see, that's holding their head and they're dreaming. There's all these clouds here going on, and it's usually, you know, this particular deck takes a snapshot of the Rider-Waite. So the Nine of Swords talks about someone that wakes up in the middle of the night, and their head is just spinning, right? Sword energy is about our mental thoughts. And so maybe you're having a difficult time falling asleep at night. You're getting up at 3, 4 in the morning, or you're just like, once you do wake up, you can't sleep and your mind's spinning and you don't know what to do. Some people talk about going to bake something or going to read something, or, you know, and when this card comes up, it tells me that there's a memory. For me, when I have sleep issues, I know that there's usually a memory coming up. There's emotions coming up, because emotions are always connected to our memories. And so there's something here for you, a memory coming up. And, you know, as humans, we tend to kind of push that down and put it away. And maybe you've been having some, you know, big dreams. Sometimes we can have nightmares too. And those are really important to pay attention to as well, because that is another way of the universe is trying to, you know, tell us about what's coming up for healing. And so this is what's happening with you. And you have the Four of Cups here, and it's in reverse. Again, it's not something that you even want to consider here, but this individual right here is, I'm going to say there's a big fear, and that's why this card is in reverse. So this individual has these 3 cups here that they have in front of them, and cups are about our emotions. And so they've crossed their arms and they're like, you know, yep, I've done all my feeling. I'm not feeling anymore. I've had enough of feeling. I'm swearing off of feeling. I don't, you know, and so I can see that's maybe where you are right now, especially because, you know, of what's coming up for you with some kind of memory or something that's really disturbing your sleep. And then if you look here, there's an offer here from the universe. It's like the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is always like an offer from the universe here. And it's saying, and it's a gift. It could be a gift too, saying, listen, are you going to take up another, are you going to start to feel again? Here's another cup for you. And you're like, no, I'm not doing it. But it's like, well, no, I think either it's like, here's another cup to start feeling again, or here's another cup to go deeper, right? So it's like, no, I've had enough. Maybe I've done enough healing. I don't want to do anymore. And so there's this real fear on your part to take up that cup again and to try to figure out, what is this memory? And it's something that's come up before. It's like, here it is again. Whatever this is, I know it. I can feel it. There's something here. And then you have the Lover's card here sideways. And so this is kind of you sitting on the fence. This card, it has a lot to it. It's a choice card. It's a big choice. But let me tell you what it's about. It has a feminine figure here who's staring up. And then you have the masculine on this side that's staring ahead. This feminine is our feminine side. We all have a feminine side and we have a masculine side. It has nothing to do with gender. And this one's, you know, this feminine side is looking up to the divine, because she gets our feminine side. All of us have it. Doesn't have, you know, she gets her knowing from her intuition. And you have to be in your body, which people don't realize. You know, people that call themselves intuitive, or, you know, I tapped into my intuition. Well, the only way you can tap into your intuition is to be in your body, feeling all your emotions. It doesn't come from your head. And so this is an invitation from you. It was sideways here. And this is an invitation for you now to start to go inwards, right? Because I can see that you're very much up in your head, not wanting to touch those emotions that are coming up here that are related to this memory. And but now the universe is saying, you know, here's an invitation for you to go inwards and take that cup and go a little bit deeper now. What are these emotions about? And so I think what I'm interested in is, you know, maybe I'll get some answers here, but why is there this great fear on your part to not want to look at this memory? Why are you kind of going, no, I can't do it? We're going to look at what's coming up from your shadow for healing that is having the biggest impact on what's going on with you right now with this pattern. So you have the Seven of Pentacles. And this again is when you were younger. And the Seven of Pentacles speaks about this individual here. He's standing here. He's got his hand on his hoe, and he's hoed this big pile of pentacles. And he's done something that, you know, he's been committed to all his life. And he looks at this big pile of pentacles and he says, is this everything? I have worked so hard. Is this everything? You know, it's like when you work so hard at something and you realize this is everything. And so I think that as a child, when you think, is this everything? You really lose focus that there's a way out of whatever the situation was for you when you were younger. I think you really lost a sense of there's more out there for you. And maybe you learn to just kind of give up. And I think as a young child, when we learn to give up, it was because we had no choice. And we do give up when you say, you know, is this everything? When we look around and I was just reading something this morning, which is very fascinating, and it could relate to your situation where, it was something to do with people that have trauma. And we always say, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they ask for help? Why didn't they? Well, if that's all you knew when you were younger, there was no way you could ask for help because that was your norm. Any single child that you pick in this world, whatever situation they're raised in, that is their norm. And so they don't see a way out because they didn't have a way out. And that's, I think, where you need to realize is that, you know, you have a tendency maybe to just give up and not try again because that's what you learned and you had no choice when you were younger. As an adult, you have a choice. And I think that's what this card, this taking this cup again is like, you have a choice now. I did talk about that being the choice card, right? Like you have that choice now to go inwards. You have that choice now to feel these big emotions that you couldn't feel when you were younger. You can do it now. And so what are the clarifiers here for this Seven of Pentacles where you have this Eight of Cups? And I talked a lot before I looked at your clarifiers here, but this Eight of Cups talks about this individual that walking away from their emotions. Now, if this card was not in your shadow, I would say that it's kind of like the Dark Night of the Soul card where you walk away from you're not walking away from your emotions. You are walking away to do the work. You're walking away to feel. You're like literally physically moving yourself out of your area, taking yourself somewhere else so you can do the inner journey. But this is your shadow. This is your child, your adolescence. And so you know what you did when you were younger? Probably said it already. When you saw that you had to give up, you also gave up on your emotions. You walked away from your emotions because you had no choice. When this Eight of Cups comes here in your shadow, I always say it's the cup that, yes, you walked away from your emotions because you had no choice. You had to shut down. You shut down your emotions. And the Justice card comes out as the last card. Justice speaks about bringing like clarity to finding your truth. Your truth is that single sword. That's the single sword of truth. The single sword of your authenticity. And the balance scale, just keeps things on an even keel, brings balance to things. Well, guess what you lost as a child when you gave up? Well, you lost your balance for sure. And you lost your authenticity. And it's buried right here. The Justice card says what you've lost because you had to give up. And so what is the advice from the tarot? Where do you begin? Where do you begin with this? Well, we have the Six of Pentacles that's in reverse because the universe wants you to turn this around. So what is it that the universe wants to turn around? Well, the Six of Pentacles speaks about this beggar holding out their hands here. And they've asked for 5 coins, 5 pentacles. And so the person that's doling out the coins, you know, is counting out, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe you've asked for 6 coins, and that's what you're going to get. What you ask for is what you're going to get, because you only believe that you're worth 6 coins. He has 3,000 coins, but you only asked for 6. And so this card speaks about your worthiness. It talks about how much you think you're worth. And you only think that you're worth 6 coins out of 3,000, right? And so it's your unworthiness. And so the universe wants you to recognize that you matter. Because when you were younger, you didn't matter. You had to give up. You had no choice. But now you're an adult, and the universe says, okay, it's time for you to, let's work on your sense of self-worth here. Underneath that, you have the 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles speaks about these individuals that are obviously going to make some changes to this place of worship. And they're putting together their heads. They're talking about how they're going to do it. So it really is a card of co-creation, working together. And again, this is all about Pentacles, which is interesting because Pentacles is that earth element. It's about getting grounded into your body. And this is all about, this is what the universe wants to bring you right now, Cancer, is let's get back into our body. Let's make that choice to go inwards. And this one says, I think maybe you can make that choice if you're having a difficult time getting in touch with these emotions. Maybe it's time for you to start to ask for some help. And this card can talk about, you know, therapy. It can talk about going back to therapy. There are so many different modalities out there for healing, and you can try different modalities, craniosacral, different types of body work, Reiki, so many different things you can explore. You know, if you're not into doing that therapy of sitting one-on-one with somebody, you can start to explore some of those. I know that for myself, I started off with my life coach 8 years ago, and I'm still with her, and I probably always will be. But I got into body work for the first 2.5 years that I started off with her. I did body work with someone else on the side, but I needed someone at the time, because when you do body work, it brings up stuff in us, emotions, memories, and so I needed someone to go to talk it out with. And so that's important. I always say that when I talk about that card. And then the final card is the Knight of Pentacles. This is the part of you. I call my knights my freedom fighters. And thank God we have this part in us. It's everybody has it. It's that part that wants to be free, wants to be authentic, wants to go towards, free to be themselves. This is the card that will pull you free from oppression, free from pain. It wants to pull you towards that direction. Notice how it has a pentacle in their hand. It wants you to get into your body so that you can start to be free from this pain up in your head and start to feel these emotions that are, you know, all of our pain is caused by, all of our emotional pain, it's caused by us trying to push it all down. That's the pain. When the actual emotions come out, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And but it's this pushing down that hurts the most. And so Cancer, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, but it's the most important one. I'm going to leave you with your July 2025 reading, and I'll see you in August. Bye-bye.